I'm Michael Arzt, Chief Operations Officer of Atari Connect.
Let's start by talking about the resurgence of the Atari brand.
The Atari brand's resurgence has been kind of amazing. I guess it never really left, but it's a brand that has these great feelings and great sort of really positive connotations to it that, you know, everybody has great memories of Atari, especially if you're over 35. You have, you know, memories of opening something under a tree or sitting in the basement playing Asteroids with your friends or any of those kind of things. And what has really kind of happened, especially with the resurgence of retro, and it's not just Atari, it's brands like Adidas and Mini Cooper and brands like that are coming back. What we're seeing with Atari is the same thing. We've sort of transcended our roots, which is in gaming, and become very much a pop culture brand. So you get, you know, the faded Atari t-shirt worn by the hipster in Soho is like becoming its own thing, and it's becoming really iconic. So when we look at the Atari brand now, a lot of it is about how can we take this brand that people love and introduce it in a way that the under 35 generation will love. Retro's cool, that under 35 audience is into retro. How do we take, you know, sort of that core DNA that is Atari, all the great games, all the great memories, the great brand, the iconic logo, the name that has, you know, 95% recognition worldwide. How do we turn that into something really positive? And that's what the whole Atari Connected Life initiative is all about. We're trying to kind of sell this notion of a connected lifestyle, which is really what, you know, the younger generations are all living right now, right? You know, my kids don't know a world when there was no internet. They don't even know a world when there was no, you know, Facebook. They were too young to, you know, not know that. So social and shared experiences and all of these things that the new generation is all about is what Atari wants to be all about as well. And obviously it's all connected and social.
And we're literally standing on a set of Blade Runner 2049. Talk a little about how Atari is working with Alcon and Warner Brothers.
The thing about Atari is we were part of a very iconic film, you know, a legendary film, a film that, you know, a lot of people think is the greatest science fiction film ever, but certainly a film that has influenced countless others ever since it came out in 1982. So Atari was part of that first film. We had logos in there, we were part of the scene that looks a lot like this environment that we're in. And when Alcon and Warner Brothers were building out the world for Blade Runner 2049, they looked at the brands that existed in 1982, which I think it took place in like, I think it was 2017, right? So it took place right now. And they took that world and moved it forward. It's an alternate universe, it's not the same world as we're in right now. But the best thing about it is that Atari is big and bold in both of them, right? So when that first trailer came out for Blade Runner 2049, and Atari had, you know, 4 seconds in the opening spot, you know, what they're calling the canyon shot with the spinner driving by, this massive Atari logo. We started getting calls, they started getting calls at Alcon and at NECA, who is the master licensee. Oh, there's going to be Blade Runner Atari product, right? And we said, oh yeah, we're working on it. And of course they said, oh yeah, we're working on it. Needless to say, we called each other and put the pieces together. But yeah, we're very excited about what we're doing together. And being here at Comic-Con and being in this Blade Runner world was a great opportunity for us to launch the first wave of the products that the Blade Runner product will be about. And of course I'm talking about the Atari speaker hats, which we're working on this in partnership with a company called AudioWare. AudioWare makes the technology, which is embedded in the visor. It's Bluetooth, and it works really, really well. And for people who try it on, they get blown away immediately by the quality of it. Forgive me while I turn on my music, but hopefully you'll hear this. And you know, the gamers love it. Skaters love it, action sports athletes love it, the hat and sneaker crowd loves it. I'm going to turn this down so you can hear me. You can take and make phone calls, really high quality hat with really high quality audio built into it, and Bluetooth connectivity. And this plays into a whole wearables line that we're working on that, you know, is going to be a big part of what Atari is about going forward. One of the lines we're working on. There's also a black one here. There'll be a black version of this one as well as part of the first drop. These are going to be coming out in the early fall, and then they'll be joined by a special Blade Runner edition. We haven't released the design yet, but trust me, it's really, really cool, and I think Blade Runner fans are going to love it, Atari fans are going to love it. That'll be a super special limited edition, and we're really excited about that.
Can you talk a little about the social aspect, shareable aspect of people
Sure,
have these?
so there's a couple things. Obviously, when you're playing the music and you're playing the hat, you can make it loud enough for just yourself to hear, or you can make it loud enough for everybody around you to hear. That's, one of the variations on it. But there's also a multiplayer mode that we're working on. Whoops. Where we're working with AudioWare on an app that will allow for what we call synchronous broadcast or multiplayer mode, which means similar to a silent disco, but without the silence. The social aspect is there. You can talk to each other, but you'll all be hearing the same thing while you're wearing your hats. But the main thing about this hat is, if you just look at it, it's a hat. But if you start using it and you start engaging with it with your friends, and you start engaging with it with the music and with the audio and with social, and eventually with the multiplayer mode when we get that up and running, or get that out in public. It's up and running, but it's not public yet. There's other designs coming. The first drop is the Atari branded drop. Drop 1.5, we're calling it, is the Blade Runner hat. And then later we'll do some based on some of our classic Atari franchises. Not going to talk about which ones just yet, but there are some pretty big anniversaries coming up and things like that of iconic games. So we're going to tap into that a little bit. But then we also have newer games that are doing really, really well. Things like Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch, which is killing it on Android and iOS right now, just killing it. Kids are building, unbelievable roller coaster theme parks on their phones right now, and we've really kind of found a niche for that. And we're finding a lot of other partnerships that are coming as a result of all the things that we're doing, and that's very exciting too. So Blade Runner is one of the best we could ever hope for, but it's really just the first. There's a lot of other things that we're doing. We're involved in a lot of other pop culture events, as we call them. They're not really, they can be TV shows, they can be movies, they can be actual events, New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, PAX, things like that. But then, certain TV shows that are on major networks or Netflix or different places like that, and of course more movies that are coming that anybody who really just sort of has their pulse on pop culture and retro and some of the big productions in the works right now can probably figure some of those out.
And the last thing, the Atari 2600 is celebrating an anniversary this year.
Yes,
40
it is.
years.
Yes, it is.
What can you tell us about the next generation with Atari Box?
Absolutely nothing. Everything that we want you guys to know is out there right now. We're very much in a communication flow with fans and with our audience in learning about what's important to them, and obviously certain things. We dropped the design the other day, and there's a lot of references to the classic 2600 that everybody loves, but there's a lot of modern things in there. So, there's a lot that we've released already, so I think we're going to leave it at that. There's a lot more I could say, but I'm not going to. But we're very, very excited about that, and that'll have Bluetooth in it, that I'll say, and so you can connect your hat to that. It'll have a lot of other things in it as well, but I think people will be pleased when they finally see more that's coming.